Welcome to Analog Schtick, a PlayStation 2 podcast, the podcast where every month we do a deep dive on one PS2 title. We cover the game's development history, discuss its legacy, and share our thoughts and opinions on the game through a modern lens. We release a new episode on the 2nd of every month, so subscribe or follow if you'd like to stay up to date with the show. Please support the podcast by leaving a review or rating on whatever platform you like to listen on. You can find us on podcast platforms and YouTube as Analog Schtick. I'm your host, Clayton, joined as always by the voice of Goofy Morgan. Morgan, how are you?
Gorsh.
Gorsh, yep. Do you have Ethernet running to your setup yet?
No, I don't. Yeah, so you froze for a second, then you started moving super fast, and then you sat there and just stared at me. And I was like, I feel like I missed the rest of the intro.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
So, surprise, anyone looking forward to Kingdom Hearts, pushing it back to next month because it's been a very busy January.
Indeed.
I wasn't ready. Probably could have assumed that it would have been busy. We really ate into our lead that we had built up with Final Fantasy.
We did,
but,
yeah.
It was at some point this month that I was just like, this is not even going to happen. Like
that's what we get for trying to cover JRPGs in a thorough manner.
Yeah, it's they're
long.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I promise. But, mostly promise. Definitely, probably ready by February. I mean,
for Kingdom Hearts?
I mean, ready for March. Ready for March. Yes. There will be an episode. I'm remembering now that there's going to be our bonus ranking episode in between, because this is the end of year 2. This is the final. We're going out on a bang with Donald Duck Goin Quackers.
No, so Kingdom Hearts isn't going to get to be part of our ranking, which is kind of a bummer, but like whatever.
Oh yeah, I don't have to wait till next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Donald Duck Goin Quackers though. That could be the wild card pick for this ranking. The
little known prequel to Kingdom Hearts.
But we'll be ranking in the ranking. Back to quacking. Continue to write in with questions, comments, or feedback to analogschtickmail@gmail.com or leave a comment on YouTube or Spotify. Morgan, do you want to read this nice email that we received from Paul?
Yes. So this month we got a nice email from Paul. And Paul's email says, "Dear Analog Schtick, it's almost been a year since I've discovered your podcast on Spotify. Back in January 2023, I had just gotten wireless headphones for Christmas, and I was looking for a podcast to listen to when commuting to and from my university campus. I then stumbled upon your podcast on Spotify. I distinctly remember listening to one of your episodes expecting you two to jump right into talking about the video game of the episode title, and feeling very annoyed when you instead started talking about your life for 30 minutes. Almost 12 months later, and the opening topics are the best parts of the episodes I look forward to the most." Wait, let me...
You misread Paul. You made him sound like he didn't know how to type.
I did, yeah. Let me retake that last sentence. "Almost 12 months later, and the opening topics are the parts of the episodes I look forward to the most. You talk a lot about Naruto, thank you for noticing.
Oh, yes.
But are there any other anime that you love? Do you watch other anime regularly? Great work and lots of love from the Netherlands. I'm not Dutch. I just live there. Thank you."
Yeah, thank you for that.
For the lore. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because if you were Dutch, then this email would not have been read, and you would have been blocked from.
That's not true.
We would have IP banned you.
We're not. What would that be? Xenophobic?
Something. It'd be something.
Nationality, whatever. Nationalist?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I got a big grudge against the Netherlands. They have really nice bicycles, and they're not available in the U.S. Give us the goddamn bicycle.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for your email. Really love that you hated us at first. Or not hated us, but were annoyed by us at first. That's funny.
But we grew on you, and that's...
Yeah.
that's
we wore you
thing.
Down.
Yeah.
But yeah, anime-wise, Morgan, if you want to talk about some of the other anime that you're currently into.
Yeah, sure. So I was trying to list all of the anime that I've seen, and it is kind of a long ass list. Like, it's longer than I thought it was going to be. I watch more anime than I guess thought that I have. But just to rattle off some of my favorites: Violet Evergarden, big favorite. Ghost in the Shell, Angel's Egg, Revolutionary Girl Utena is pretty good. I'm rewatching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood with my husband at the moment. Psycho Pass is something that I'm also in the middle of watching, and that's pretty good. Toradora is probably my favorite, modern day slice of life high school romance anime.
Okay.
Spy Family, which that's like hugely popular right now.
I've heard things of it.
Yeah, it's very cute and very funny.
Isn't it like little kids going on missions or something?
Kind of. So it's like secret spies who like they like marry each other without realizing that they're spies, and there's like an adopted kid who is like a telepath, and so she is like aware of her adoptive parents and all their crazy secrets and thinks that being a spy is like cool. I don't know. It's really cute.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Neon Genesis Evangelion, classic.
You're really pushing me to get into that, and I will eventually.
Yes, I think you should. Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust is one of my favorites, like absolute favorites. Just because the premise of the world is so crazy and so cool. And also the art style is just, the animation's just gorgeous, so gorgeous. And let me think. I've seen some Cowboy Bebop, and I want to go back and like finish it. I think I've seen the first 2 or 3 episodes.
That's definitely on the list.
Yeah. Ghost Stories is an anime from the 90s where the I know last time we were talking about dub versus sub. The dub voice actors, or like whoever was responsible for making the dub, did not give a fuck about anything that show had going on. So the voice actors just like improv'd. They just improv the whole thing.
Yo, we should do
so
that.
Funny. It's so funny. Yes. No, it's really, really good. And I was gonna say, okay, so like the shows that like sort of introduced me to anime, which I know we kind of talked about last time, but like Pokemon, Naruto on Toonami were the things that introduced me to anime. Code Lyoko is like anime.
Is Code Lyoko
ish? It's
that's
Canadian.
the big forehead one, right?
Yeah, it's the big forehead one. But that was like the style of that show. It's like very similar to like, I think, to anime in some ways, or it's just like the concept feels like something you would find in an anime.
It was 3D, right?
Partially. It was, parts of it were 2D, parts of it were 3D.
Oh, they would like go into cyberspace.
Yeah, into cyberspace. Yeah, into like a computer simulated thing. Also, a big one that I was into back in the day, like when I first started watching anime, was Inuyasha. That was probably like the first one that I like really got into, aside from just like thinking that Pokemon and Naruto was cool. Which I know that's like popular with like a lot of people close to our age, is Inuyasha, and like waking up in the middle of the night and that's on Adult Swim and you're just like, what's going on?
That's a great way to describe Adult Swim as a child.
Yeah. Just like, what? I feel like I shouldn't. Am I allowed to see this? Like, but then my favorite anime of all time is Ergo Proxy. I finished that. My husband and I watched that about a month ago, I think. And we finished it within like a couple weeks. And it was like instantly, I was like, okay, this is my favorite thing.
Okay.
So good.
I mean, you've given me a lot of, I don't know. I'm going to have to re-listen to the segment and actually pay attention to these things, but I might write them down or something. But
yeah, from my list of favorites, I really like anime that is, I don't want to sound pretentious, but I like stuff that's like kind of existential, kind of deep. Like there's something existential about Vampire Hunter D. There's something existential about Angel's Egg. Angel's Egg is hella existential. Galaxy Express 999 has like some weird existential vibes to it. But yeah, Ergo Proxy is so freaking cool.
Part of me would really like to just go through almost chronologically experiencing like the most important like anime movies and shows from like its conception. I don't know what its conception would be considered, but I watched Akira and like Ghost in the Shell and Angel's Egg with you and Galaxy Express 99. And I don't remember when all of those came out, but I assume they're in like a similar era.
Yeah, they're from, I think Galaxy Express 999 might be late 70s.
Okay.
And NGE, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Vampire Hunter D, I think that's 80s. Or NGE might be 90s. But yeah, it's really interesting, like seeing the different like art styles from each era and seeing how anime has like evolved over time. Super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to like, man, there's something so beautiful about most of the cell animated stuff.
And for sure, yeah.
So like textured, and the style is like very clearly anime, but different than modern anime. And I don't know, modern anime can still be pretty dang beautiful. I mean, like, I've seen some good stuff. I started watching Demon Slayer, and while it's not like, I wouldn't say the animation is always like consistently as fluid as Akira and some of the like older anime that I've seen, but there's something just like really appealing about like the use of color and like the occasional like fight scene and stuff like that from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's Demon Slayer is very, very vibrant. That's not one that I've seen like a ton of, but Sage watches it, so I'm pretty familiar with it.
I was interested in it because I knew it was a shorter series with a conclusion.
Speaking of beautiful visuals, Violet Evergarden is also so beautiful. And also Violet Evergarden, if you want to like have a very cathartic cry every single episode, just about, then Violet Evergarden will like shatter your heart into a million pieces, but like still keep it held together somehow. I don't know. It's very, very emotional.
I think you've mentioned this one before. Did you recommend it to the girls at some point? Okay, yeah.
Our friend Cora watched it and cried a lot.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that is the emotional catharsis. Cry your eyes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were over there last night to celebrate your birthday party.
Without me.
It just happened to be on that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got sushi yesterday. And then we went over there and we stayed there very late. And by very late, I mean like 12. I got 2 Big Macs.
Oh my God. Okay.
I was lethargic.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But anyway, as far as like I'm not as well versed in anime as Morgan, but there's a handful of series that I'm progressing in slowly. And we talked a lot about this on the previous episode because it was very anime centric. But to recap, I'm going through Shippuden. I say going through. I don't remember the last time I watched an episode.
Okay. Slowly muddling through Shippuden, maybe. Yeah,
I'm watching the dubbed version in Canada through a VPN on Netflix. That's just how it's got to be, I guess. But I'm also reading it. I don't know if that'll surpass it. Probably not. But I'm also reading One Piece. I kind of gave up on watching it, but I've like jumped into like certain like fight scenes and stuff and just moments just to see how it was animated. But yeah, I'm mainly just reading that one. And I started Demon Slayer. That's been like here's the issue. I like to watch stuff while I'm working out because working out has a lot of just, I'm just going to have to rest for 3 minutes. And it's nice to have like a show or something because I don't know. I alternate back between like podcasts, music, and TV shows, but I tried to progress in Demon Slayer while working out, but I found the dub so insufferable that I'm like, I have to do the sub. That makes it harder to progress because I have to be looking at the screen. So I can't so it's like, all right, I'm going to pause this, lift weights, you set them down, unpause. Okay, now I can watch for like 3 minutes. So weird progress, but I do like it. It's nice and violent.
Yeah.
That's neat. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I was reading Claymore for a while, but I kind of gave up on that. It's interesting. I think it's like a 2006 shonen anime or manga, but I don't know. I've thought about talking with you about it at some point. It's like, it's interesting. I put it down because I'm like, I don't know. I stopped caring as much, but there's some like really cool aspects of it. There's like a lot of really good like body horror and like monster design, I think.
Cool.
But tell you what, there's not good design of the main character. So it follows like a group of like, it's Demon Slayer adjacent, I guess. It's just a group of like women soldiers that sometimes turn into monsters, but they all like fight like all these. It's like a weird thing where there's like, they're working for a corporation that's like releasing monsters secretly, but they're also, I mean, at least that's the way it seems, but they're also in control of the monster slayers. So it's like a weird like
A scam.
corporation. Yeah, it's a scam.
Okay.
So it seems like that at least.
Create the problem and then ask for money to solve it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like
Yeah.
that. Which is like, oh, that's neat. And you got like this one rogue soldier who's like trying to take down the system or whatever. It's like, oh, that's cool. All the characters look the exact goddamn same.
Okay.
And it's very difficult because it's like a bunch of female soldiers, so they all wear the same like paladin armor or whatever. Only way you're differentiating these dudes is by remembering their hairstyle, and I just cannot do that. It's impossible.
So are you looking at them and you're like, who is
I don't even know. And also they die really frequently, so it's like, I don't fucking cares. This person died. Bob Cut just died. Ponytail just died.
Yeah.
If they're talking about them by their name, it's like, I don't know who this is. It was cool. Probably putting it down for good though. That's
okay.
The only other like manga anime thing that I've been. Oh, also, Studio Ghibli. Me and my wife have been like slowly, occasionally progressing through the Studio Ghibli movies. We just watched My Neighbor Totoro, and it was good, great. Never. I'd be curious to see if there's like a Studio Ghibli film that I'm like, that was bad. I don't like that.
I don't think there's any bad ones.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that Cats one and see how I feel, but that's just like looming over right now. I'm like, I don't want to watch this fucking Cats thing. But yeah, My Neighbor Totoro was good. So far we've seen Nausicaa, Castle in the Sky, and My Neighbor Totoro. We need to go back to watch Grave of the Fireflies. I was trying to do chronological, but
okay. And is Howl's Moving Castle also coming up? That's the only one I've seen.
That'll be coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost track of. I know Grave of the Fireflies was supposed to come after Castle in the Sky.
Okay.
As far as when released, but I received a Blu-ray copy of My Neighbor Totoro, so I'm like, well, we're watching this. And it was great. It of the three that I've seen, I probably ranked Nausicaa, Totoro, and then Castle in the Sky. I like them all a lot though. My Neighbor Totoro was nice and low stakes. Just you're not like saving the universe or something like the other two.
Yeah.
It's just some kids
Slice
digging around in the forest.
Yeah.
Which was nice. Yeah, I mean, I think they're really interesting, and I'd be curious to see what you think, because it seems like pretty much all Ghibli films, most, not all, but a lot of them, focus on like female protagonists. And I feel like they often do them, from my perspective at least, it seems like they do them a good bit of justice as far as like, this is maybe a little bit different than a movie that would have a young boy protagonist or something. Claire seems to like them. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, for Howl's Moving Castle, I will say I appreciated Sophie, because not only do you have like a woman protagonist, but also like a woman who gets turned into an elderly woman and then just sort of like embraces herself like that. I don't know. That's not something that we see a lot in media. Is, you're looking at me like, what?
Interesting. Well, I was looking at you like, what? Because you cut out, but I did piece it back together.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like all of them, they like have womanly qualities, but it's never like a negative thing. Like, oh man, I'm too weak to do this thing. Or something like that.
Naruto.
The
way they handle women in Naruto.
And One Piece, frankly.
Oh no. Oh shucks.
Yeah, there was like some. Anyway, and I'm not even going to get into it. But yeah. It's nice. I don't know. It's cool. It's like they feel like way ahead of their time in a lot of ways too. Like I don't remember when Nausicaa came out, but I'm like, man, this feels like a movie that would be made now with a female lead protagonist like this 40 years ago though. So it's kind of neat. Anyway, thank you, Paul, for thoroughly derailing us.
Yeah. And just to derail us a little bit more. So I know that I've been saying for quite a while that you should watch Neon Genesis Evangelion. I will say, after watching Ergo Proxy, so one of the things about Neon Genesis Evangelion is the creator kind of like lost the plot a little bit towards the end, where it was like like most of the show, it's like, oh yeah, we're killing monsters with giant robots, and then towards the end, it gets all like fucked up and existential, and we're just like, what is happening, and what's going on? And he like kind of drops the ball on a few characters, and then also I think they might have run out of their budget by the end. So the ending episode of the official anime is just like really weird.
That
and like
sucks.
It turns into like an abstract thing. But then they came out with a movie that ends it in the way that I guess he intended to end it. I don't know. It's kind of a lot. And I will say the thing I liked about that made me put, I guess, like Ergo Proxy ahead of that on my personal ranking is Ergo Proxy is just, I think, consistently better written. Like the way the plot kind of like goes. Like you're going to be confused a lot. But you have to like, it will like give you the answers for like what you're asking about. Whereas NGE, you're just kind of like, what? Like what's happening?
I gotta say, I do kind of like that though. Just like, I don't know. Because how long is NGE?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. I think they're approximately the same length. Because Ergo Proxy is 25 episodes, I think.
I like that really kind of contained like
There's no
series.
filler. There's just no filler. At least I don't remember. There might be some like weird episodes in NGE. There's a couple like episodes in Ergo Proxy where they start and you're like, what are we doing? Like, how did we get here? What's going on? And you like think it's filler, but then it's actually like really crucial to like everything else. I don't know. It's just, I'm never going to shut up about the show. I love it so much.
I believe Cowboy Bebop is in a similar vein.
It's also, isn't it kind of short as well?
They're like, it's a very short series, I'm pretty sure. But it does feel like whenever I watched it, it felt like they were like, okay, we're here now. What's going, like, it's just a lot of like, location jumping or something.
But that's okay, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
And instead of, jumping through trees for multiple episodes and having like a million flashbacks like Naruto.
Starkly different.
Instead, if we're just schmoovin', I like to be schmoovin'.
I like to be schmoovin'.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. That's all my anime talk. So if you want to derail the show, send any and all of your questions, feedback, PS2 game recommendations to analogschtickmail@gmail.com or leave a comment on YouTube or Spotify. There's plenty of ways to interact. So do that. I command you. Anyway, let's get into some more non-Donald Duck Goin Quackers talk. I want to quickly give a shout out to your new child.
Yes. My new fur-covered baby.
Furry baby, yep.
Furry baby, yes. My husband and I got a cat, I think a week and a half ago was when we got her. And her name is Marceline, and she is a black 10-month-old kitty, and I already love her so much.
I would already die for her.
Yeah.
You've given us, like, me and my wife, we know a lot of people with babies. Part of us is like, we got some baby fever. And now that you got cats.
Yeah.
You got cat. We go hang out with Cora and her cat friend Frog. It's like, we kind of got a little bit of cat fever as well. It's like, man, we got companion fever. We just need more companions in our D&D party of life. And I don't know. There's something really appealing to us about like a dumb cat. Like my parents have a notoriously bad cat.
Hostile.
There's a video Claire showed me from like a couple years ago of me just staring at her and smiling. And then she just goes, wow, and then smacks me in the head. Just.
Yeah, she does sound kind of. I mean, she's hissed at me, like to the point, like I've been like hissed at by like feral cats and stuff, and that doesn't really bother me. But I was like, she's gonna like get me.
Yeah.
Like she's exceptionally hostile.
She is exceptionally bad, and that's the only cat I've really known for the past however long this demon has been alive.
Most of them are not like that, at least in my experience.
I'm really like actually struggling to like accept that because I know that's true. But like every time I see a cat, I'm like, I assume they're just mean.
No.
I'm racist towards cats or something. I don't know.
The thing that I like about Marcy so much after this week and a half of getting to know her is that like it's so like I don't think I've had a cat before. Like I've had a lot of cats in my lifetime.
Yep.
Most of them outdoor and like farm cats, so they're like half feral or whatever. But
Yeah.
like with the indoor cats I've had before, I would talk to them and not, like you can like try to like train a cat to do things or whatever, and most of the time it's like whatever. Marcy, there's like certain things that I'll say to her, and it's like she knows what I'm saying, and she will do that. Like if I'm like, hey, come here, or if I'm like, oh, come here, baby, like she actually like listens and will like talk back to me and she'll like chirp and meow and like, oh, it's just so cute. She's so cute. Oh, I love her so much.
I see her and I see Frog and I'm like, it would be nice to have a little animal walking around here.
And it's so soothing to pet them. I forgot, because I haven't had a cat for like quite a while. I forgot how much stress relief I get from having just like a little critter to pet and hold and to love on.
I don't know. I like the idea of just sitting down and someone's just going to sit on your lap potentially. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Although I feel like there's like a handful of downsides. Number one being I live in an apartment, so I'd have to pay a little bit of cat, whatever, tithe. I don't know.
Cat premium.
Yeah, the cat premium. But also like, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I got so used to hiding glasses of water whenever I lived with my parents.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got here and I was like, oh, I can finally unlearn this. I can leave a glass of water next to my computer.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And if we got a cat, I'd have to relearn that potentially. Like, who knows what they're gonna do.
Marcy doesn't bother anything.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's nice. Like, any cables as well? Like, our other cat would attack specifically Apple lightning cables.
Oh, no.
The white ones.
Yeah.
Like, those were just always eaten. And I'm like, yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of cables here. I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, my ideal cat that we've discussed is a dumb orange cat. I would like a dumb orange boy cat, and I would like to name him Gramps.
Okay.
Personally, that's a name that I heard from another podcast that I listened to, and they have their cat named Gramps, and I'm like, that's the funniest thing ever. I'm going to steal that, and if anyone asks, I'm going to say I came up with it.
Okay. Even though you just admitted this on our podcast.
I got to delete this. I got to hide the evidence.
The evidence is here.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on cats. Maybe eventually. I do still like dogs a lot. They're just a lot of work, and we travel a lot.
Smelly.
We're not home. They're smelly.
They're drooly.
They make more of a mess. They require more help. They're not as self-sufficient as cats.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I want to quickly discuss New Year's resolutions with you because this is a short episode, so we got to fill up some time. More random bullshit. It's going to be like one of our older episodes where we just talk about 15 random topics and then discuss the game quickly and be done.
Yeah, do you think there should be carpeting in the kitchen and the bathroom?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely not. Let's spend the next 20 minutes discussing this.
Yeah.
Anyway, New Year's resolutions. Personally, I do get the hate that they receive. I'm just a big resolution guy. Always love changing your life drastically on a whim.
I think the problem I have with New Year's resolutions is like the fact that it like has to be at New Year's time. I'm like, babe, make a resolution whenever you want. Like if you want to change your life, do it now. Like don't wait for this arbitrary date to roll around. You know
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Resolutions in general, good. There is something about the New Year's where I'm like, I do feel like it does come at a time, and maybe it's just because we're all talking about them, where it's like, it feels like a decent time. Because it's like usually after, for me at least, it's like, okay, I return home not first of the year, but beginning of the year. I'm returning from like extended time off, like extended family time, just time away from work and stuff. So it feels like the start of something. I feel like returning from a vacation kind of does feel like I don't know, like a new season of a show or something. But yeah, I'm curious. Did you make any resolutions? Have you had any successful or unsuccessful resolutions?
I did write down a list, and I don't remember everything I wrote down. I think some of it had to do with like, oh, I should try to do some like form of physical activity, like exercise or yoga or whatever 3 times a week. And I haven't been doing that. And then the other one was like, oh, I have this like writing project I have that's almost done. I'm going to finish that by February. It didn't get done, or it's not. We're 10 days away from February, and I don't think it's going to get done.
Yes.
The thing that I have been successful about is no more DoorDash.
Oh, yeah?
And
Haven't broken?
Well, we did use DoorDash, but it was for like a virtual holiday party my husband had with his company. So that was like someone gave us a gift card essentially for DoorDash. So that was like, well, it's not coming out of our pocket, so like whatever. You know what I mean? So that didn't really feel like cheating.
I get. So is it less of a moral stance against DoorDash and more of a financial, like we're spending too much money on DoorDash?
It's like, I would say it's financial, and also like home cooked meals just tend to be healthier than fast food, like as a rule. So
it is a fairly good rule.
Yeah.
Just a rule of thumb. Yeah.
So, just trying to be like healthier, but not like, I don't know. I've tried to like, I'm going to, instead of like eating like carbs and stuff, I'm going to try and like load up on veggies and stuff. And then I just ended up being kind of miserable because like a lot of the recipes and stuff I've tried that were like quote unquote healthy or whatever sucked ass. They sucked so bad. And so I'm trying to like focus less on like being so strict about monitoring what I eat, and maybe just, I don't know, trying to approach that in different ways. I don't know how else to explain it, but like
I totally get the confusion around nutrition, because there's been multiple times in my life, because I don't know when it was. I think it was beginning of last year. I'm like, it's time to start with this fitness thing, fitting this cookie in my mouth or whatever. But there was like a nutrition aspect of that I kind of gave up because I was so confused, like trying to like actually wrap my head around like what an appropriate, like, luckily I'm in a spot where my metabolism is still in overdrive, and I'm like a natural like fidgeter. So burning calories has never been an issue for me. So I was never approaching nutrition from like a weight loss perspective or anything like that.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it would be like horrifying to people if I like actually counted how many calories I eat in a day and how much I weigh. Like it's insane. I'll have like 2 lunches at work and I'm starving. I'm just the food dumpster at work. I'm like, I'll eat anything at all times. I'm always hungry. And I'm like an anime character.
Okay.
Which is why I love Choji so much. I relate to him on a spiritual level.
Right.
But the metabolism equalizer has not come for me yet. But maybe it will. I don't know. I eat an insanely large breakfast every day, which I've heard is good for your metabolism. And if that's the case, then I'm doing great things for my metabolism, because it is humongous. But every time I've tried to get into like how to be properly nourished as a human being, I'm like so confused. I think I have a few things going for me, like the metabolism thing, but also like I don't have like a proclivity, if that's the word, towards like sweets. Like I don't like sweets. I don't really like just eating bread or something like that.
I also hate bread. I'm a bread hater.
I like bread. I like bread.
Okay.
Bread's fine. I'm not like, oh man, I'll get bread drunk and just have bread or something like that. I don't drink a lot at all.
Like alcohol?
I don't, if I'm out, the most I'll have is like 1 drink. If I'm having 2 drinks, then you're getting wild Clayton tonight.
Does not take much.
It does not take much. So yeah, I don't drink a lot. I don't do soda. I feel like just not having soda is like probably a huge percentage of it.
Calories, yeah.
I legitimately think that soda in the future might be looked at the same way we look at smoking, because it seems like very bad for you. Although I do have it whenever I have alcohol occasionally, so it's like what it is. But yeah, just double down on what's bad for me. But yeah, I do like just generally gravitate towards like meat and vegetables. I'm like, I love me meat and vegetal. So I feel like that, was just another factor that contributes to me not really having to think too hard about nutrition, which is cool, but I still feel like I would like to have like a better grasp on it. I don't know. So it's more earned, I guess. Like I actually know what's good for me and what isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I've seen some stuff and it's like, I don't know. There's like this rule in like weightlifting circles where it's like, hey, you should the rule of thumb is like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I'm like, okay, that means I should eat 165 grams of protein a day. And I'm like, holy shit, I eat meat all the time and I'm not getting close to this. It's like, that's so much.
That's too much. Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to get there through supplements and stuff, but like protein powder, which is like still like, it feels like not enough. And like the whole carbs thing, it's like, I don't know, carbs are bad, but also carbs are good. I don't know. I don't understand
it's
anything.
like some carbs are, it's kind of confusing.
Same with fat. I think saturated fat is pretty much always bad. Unsaturated fat is sometimes good and required though. So like some fat from meat and some like oil is like good, but like fat from like a Twinkie is pretty much just always bad.
Is that trans fat?
Trans fat? I mean, let's not get into politics here, but
no, that's not.
Yeah,
We're not transphobic.
Trans fat phobic.
No, that's double
trans or fat phobic.
Yeah, no, neither of those things.
Yeah, it's all confusing. Like it's way less. It's way harder to like quantify than lift heavy thing, muscle gets stronger. That's just like easy. The nutrition thing is like, I don't know, like way more delayed, and it's like a much smaller part of like the overall health. Yeah. I mean, it's a huge part of your health, but like individual meals and stuff, it's like, I don't know.
Well, and it also doesn't help that you have all these influencers yelling at you different things all the time. Like you have people who swear by the keto diet. You have people who swear by intermittent fasting. You have people who swear by this thing, swear by that thing. And it's like, I don't, and they all have, and then there's like these people who like dress up like doctors, but it's like, but are you a doctor actually? And they're like, actually, the best thing to do is this. And it's like, I don't know if I trust any of you, even a little bit.
Yeah, no. I mean, especially like when money gets involved and they're trying to sell you something as well. I don't know. I feel like the only thing that I feel like confident in asserting is that prioritizing whole foods over like processed stuff is probably good. And that's all I got.
Right.
So, but I don't know.
Yeah. And like a frustrating thing that I always have that has also made it hard for me, aside from trying like quote unquote healthy recipes that just tasted so terrible. I tried to make like spinach and quinoa or something one time and I was like, this tastes like nothing. This is awful. And like I tried some like salad thing with shrimp and cucumbers and some other vegetables. It also tasted like nothing. And I was like, what are you people doing?
Yeah.
Like I have to get like joy from my food or else I won't.
I know it's the most essential human thing probably is good food.
I don't know.
It's also like how healthy do you want to be? You know, am I going to give up cream cheese? I don't know.
Or like, or like, what was it? I feel like I've heard people say like, oh yeah, I could eat nothing but like grilled chicken and steamed broccoli every day and like live a long time. But at that point, like, am I really living? You know what I mean?
To some extent, I mean, food is an essential part of existing, I feel like.
Yeah.
So like
sometimes
good food,
it's the only thing I have to look forward to in a day.
Yeah.
Is a good meal. You know? I don't know.
Although that being said, nice chicken breast with steamed broccoli. I mean, you could still do that pretty well. I mean,
you could, yeah. Seasonings.
Yes.
Add seasonings. Maybe some cheese with your broccoli. I don't know.
If you want to get a little crazy. Throw some Parmesan on that. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh,
anyway.
Crazy.
We're going to get a little stinky up in here. But yeah. I was going to say, I don't think I gave my New Year's resolution chunk, but I also had a couple failed resolutions the past few years. Beginning of last year, I think I set out to I was like, I'm going to make 4 video essays. It's very loose. I'm just like, I'm going to make 4 personal projects, 1 every quarter. Didn't do the first one. And I was like, well, it's over.
Yeah, out the window. As soon as you mess up, it's
it's over. That is a big thing for me. When it comes to like DoorDash and stuff too, I was going to say that like, for me, who I am, the best way for me to not do something is for me to never do it, because I just am the type of person that I cannot close doors very well. Like, and that way, that just means they have to stay shut. Like I can't open the DoorDash door to receive my food. I just can't open that door because it's like, then I can do it again. Then I already know how to do it. It's terrible.
Yep. And it's so easy. Oh, it's so easy to do it.
I don't want it to be easy. I want it to be
Don't make it
mysterious.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just, I like to just never break on things. Always said with this podcast that if we ever missed an episode, it would be detrimental to the to the show's existence.
And you have stuck to the posting on the second every month.
I have like killed myself some days just to like, I'm like, I can't give up on this because otherwise otherwise you're never gonna get another episode.
Yeah. We're hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. My New Year's resolution this year was like financially focused. I really wanted to pay off all of our debt this year.
Okay.
And I set out a plan. I don't know if that's a New Year's resolution. It's just kind of like a thing.
Kind of is.
It happened during the new year. So I was like, well, New Year's resolution, I guess. But yeah, pay off all of our debt. That's the goal. And we should be able to do it, which is great because after that, it's positive money time.
Yeah.
And hopefully my goal listen, I know Dave Ramsey's somewhat controversial. I've been listening to a lot of Dave Ramsey. I don't particularly like him, but I am following a lot of his advice. He's kind of a dick.
He's an ass. Yeah. I watched a video essay on him the other day.
The advice, I'm not following his advice exactly, but the advice, generally speaking, good.
Common sense.
There's a lot of, yes, for the most part. Yeah. I think it's not like, it's not just like, don't spend more money than you have, but it's a little bit deeper. I do understand like some of his dumber takes, like I understand why they are how they are. It's because he's trying to give the best one size fits all he can manage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some of the things where it's like pay off your smallest debt first. In reality, it makes more sense to pay off your highest interest rate debt first. But he does that because it's probably more successful with more people because they can like get a win quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like psychologically, it keeps them going. But if you're like really dedicated and motivated, you should be doing it in the way that's going to save you more money, which would be highest interest first. And other things like he suggests like a $1,000 US dollar starting emergency fund. And personally, I look at that and think that doesn't make me feel very comfortable. So I'm okay having a larger.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's plenty of things that can happen that are going to cost way more than $1,000.
And I do understand like he's very like paying off your debt it can happen very fast. Like it can happen surprisingly fast. You can be in a lot of debt, and if you're like really focused on it and you're like minimizing all other payments, which is what I did, and it's like, man, we have way more money if we just don't be dumb. Like save it. It's like, man, we can generate a lot of money every month to put towards this thing. And I do get like, so he's like, do it fast, keep 1,000 in case something happens, but then just put everything towards the debt and it will go away fast. And then you can build a larger emergency fund. But at the same time, it's like the idea of getting into more debt because you didn't have a large enough emergency fund does concern me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And like you're kind of like with like an emergency fund, it's almost you're kind of like gambling. Like, well, maybe an emergency won't happen, but then if it does, then it's like, oh, that sucks.
A little bit, yeah. So we're doing things a little bit differently. We have a larger emergency fund, and we're paying off highest interest first. But we are still very much trying to prioritize getting out of debt. And then it's like, okay, once we get out of debt, we'll get into more debt because we'll get a house.
A huge mountain of debt will then be over your head a little bit. But it doesn't really feel like it. Our
goal is to like very much live below our means in this first house and pay it off.
Yep.
That would be great.
It's the best way to go.
Yeah, and it would be great if we could save up enough for 20% down. That'd be good. A lot of things would be good. But yeah, just really, really revamp and take another look at the financial situation is our kind of like New Year's thing. And it has consumed a lot of my time. And I feel like for the first time in a very long, because like I've toyed around with like doing some spending trackers and stuff, and it does I feel like pretty consistently anyone who makes like a budget, pretty much every time you're throwing out that first draft of the budget after month one, it's like, we didn't do this right. It's like, you gotta like read, like what we were doing before. It's like that was unnecessary. I don't know. But it is good to be like, this is how much money comes in. Where is all the money gonna go?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we're gonna have left. And what's it gonna do? It feels like, mentally speaking, it's like, okay, I feel much more in control of a very large aspect of my life for that reason. So it's been good.
Yeah, not feeling stressed about it.
It's been good.
Yeah.
Paid off our biggest loan. Very good. It's good. It's a lot of work though.
Yeah.
It makes a psychological benefit is that budgeting is less work when you spend less money. So it's a nice little encouragement to spend less money.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, but I'd love to pay off student loans at 26.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Be debt free. No debt.
Yeah.
I never want to go into debt again. I'd want to pay for cars in full.
You gotta buy a house.
Yeah, aside from mortgage, a little bit different, and hopefully interest rates come down by the time we buy.
Well, the thing is, if interest rates go down, then the competitiveness of the actual buying the home part gets a little wild.
Theoretically, more people will be selling because they're able to actually move into a new home. I feel like people aren't selling because they can't find a house.
Yeah.
Once they sell, I don't know. I'm not too worried. We'll find a home. There's homes. The Chinese government has not bought up all the homes yet. But yeah, I would love to not take out a loan for a car, just have money for a car, things like that. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Have cheap cars. Who needs an expensive car? Not
used
me.
cars. Used cars are probably a good way to go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Who needs to spend more than $10,000 on a car? Not me. I really want to take to like fixing my own stuff and cars specifically. Not entirely. Like, I'm not going to swap out the fucking engine or something, but I would like to better be able to diagnose my own car problems on a small scale things. Like, okay, I need a new air filter. Put in an air filter. That's easy enough. I need to
switch out a fuse. That's easy to do.
Never done that, but sounds complicated until you said it was easy. That's what I
did. I think I did something like that one time. Anyway.
Yep. I had a crack in my windshield and I'm like, I can repair that, I think, for $10 as opposed to getting it repaired for $160. So, all right.
All right.
Yeah, just gotta fiddle around with some resin. That's all I gotta do.
No pressure there.
No pressure. But yeah, it's good. It's less stressful when you feel like you have a better grasp on your car as well. Same with the finances. Things become less stressful when you know more about them.
Yes, definitely.
Anyway, what was this about? New Year's resolutions?
Yes.
All right. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
You ready for Donald Duck?
Yeah.
He's coming at you. All right. Some background information on DDGQ. DDGQ. Developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. Donald Duck Goin Quackers was released for the PS2 in North America on December 13th, 2000. So a very early game for the PS2. And the game was created to pay respects to the Disney comic book artist and creator of characters like Scrooge McDuck, Gladstone Gander in this game, and a lot of the other duck stuff and other non-duck related Mickey Mouse characters. Also, what is this universe called? I always referred to it as like Mickey Mouse. Like he's the main character, right?
Yeah.
He's the primary IP in this.
I guess, but like there's plenty of like Donald Duck and Goofy cartoons that don't reference Mickey at all.
Right.
The Disney gang. I don't know.
Is there a name for them?
I don't
because like there's Looney Tunes, and that means, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, but is there like a name for the Donald Duck
Disney,
cinematic universe?
Do you remember the Disney Channel show House of Mouse?
Oh.
Where it was like a nightclub stand-up skit thing. I don't know how
I
else to explain
remember
it.
the name. I don't actually remember the content of the show.
It was like a fancy evening dinner thing, and all the characters from all these different Disney movies were in the audience, and then Mickey Mouse hosted it, and then they would do like skits and shorts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and that was called House of Mouse. But I don't know what you would. I don't know, the Disney gang. I don't know what else to call them.
Yeah, I referred to it a couple times in like our run of show, and it's like I don't know what to call this.
Also, who the hell is Gladstone Gander?
He's the dude who is trying to rescue Daisy in this game in like a red.
Oh, that guy.
Okay. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, yeah, Donald Duck Goin Quackers was received fairly softly by critics of the time, currently sitting at a 73 on Metacritic.
Very softly.
Very softly. Time spent with this game or the series. So for me, personal history with the Mickey Mouse cinematic universe, very little. I watched Fantasia a couple times and I'm like, that's cool. And then I think the only like actual like Mickey Mouse, I saw The Christmas Carol and I think that's it. Like as a kid growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it traumatized me. The part where he's getting dragged down to hell, I'm like, this is fucked up. I'm like too young for this.
It is kind of. Was that with Scrooge?
Yeah, he's getting.
Yeah.
He goes to like Ghost of Christmas Future, and it's like, oh, you're dead, and then he just kicks him down, and I think he's getting like grabbed as he's like falling down into like a burn.
I do remember.
Yeah.
I remember that being very stressful as a child with religious trauma. That was not good.
Yeah, I remember probably watching that in my playroom. You know, I'm just sitting there like holding two action figures, like, I don't know about this. This is I thought this was a kid's show. But yeah, my little sister watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse a lot, so that's my other exposure to the Mickey Mouse stuff. Yeah, that's it. I've never played this game or any other Disney character games like this.
Yeah. I just talked about House of Mouse.
Right.
I was a big Lion King kid. That was probably my favorite Disney like movie. On Disney Channel, I think my two favorite shows, like some of my earliest memories, I loved Darkwing Duck.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember him?
I remember that being like a show.
Yeah, he was like a crime fighter guy, I guess. And I don't think Donald was even part of that.
Oh, was it not Donald?
I thought it was Donald Duck. I think it was some other guy. Okay, some other old Darkwing Duck, whoever that is. It's not Donald. Okay. I don't think. And then Gargoyles. I freaking loved Gargoyles. I was obsessed with them.
I don't remember this.
And Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was also a big thing that I liked to watch on Disney Channel as a child. And I think like Goof Troop. I also liked Goof Troop. Yeah. And the Goofy movies. All the Goofy movies were so good. And I think there was like a Three Musketeers movie with Mickey Mouse that I liked as a kid.
Was it Three Mouseketeers by chance?
Three Mouseketeers, yeah, something like that. There was the Christmas Carol one. There was a different Christmas one. And then I had one of those like historical collections, like it was like a DVD collection of a bunch of different Mickey Mouse shorts where they had like some guy standing in front of a brick building and he was like, yeah, we know this is racist, we're sorry about that, but here it is.
Oh really? Yeah. So did you see the Donald Duck?
No, but there was one
that
I remember that had a genie lamp in it, like Mickey found a genie lamp and the lamp had a I guess kind of like a racist caricature voice, like a black man's voice, but like the lamp basically talked like a caricature of a black man is the best way I can think of to say it.
Disney would never.
Well, they did.
They did multiple times actually.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of very you see that stuff and you're like, oh yeah, this is old.
Yes, yeah, you're like, oh, or like, did you ever watch like the old Tom and Jerry where like,
yes,
Tom's owner was like a black lady in one of them, and it's like, is this okay? Can we?
Yeah, you see.
I don't know. Like, it's questionable.
Yeah, when did Tom and Jerry? How old is Tom and Jerry?
From like the 50s, 40s, and 50s, right? I think
40s, 1940.
Jeez.
1940.
Coming off of World War II.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Or before World War II, maybe.
I mean, there was with we'll get into this now. Why not?
Sure.
I was on a Donald Duck rabbit hole this morning, and I saw his like anti-Nazi propaganda video, and I'm like, what? I forgot how old this stuff is. It's just so weird.
It was, and I watched it, and that was an experience.
It's so surreal because it's like you forget that you forget that this stuff is old, and you also forget that World War II is not that old. That's like the two things I was getting. It's like, oh man, World War II's old, but it's not old enough that there wasn't like cartoons and Donald Duck. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. It's also weird that it's kind of like making light of the whole situation. Like, it feels like, it feels like almost we're more sensitive today about World War II than they were at the time.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, it's also hard because like I guess looking at like popular media from the time, but also like maybe we don't have as good a visibility on like everyone, like like the individual, the normal man's experience or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier to look at like this short produced by Disney that probably went to like hundreds of movie theaters across the country versus like so-and-so's like Mary Sue's diary entries or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier for us to keep track of the more popular stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was wild to see a Disney mascot in a Nazi uniform.
Oh yeah, that's wild. Just insane.
Just like it's like a
doing
brand
Hail Hitler
thing.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mein Kampf. It's like, what's going on?
Right, but like not in like a positive way.
I know,
like,
it's not. It's anti-Nazi like, propaganda.
Yeah,
it's still strange to see this stuff.
Right,
in an official capacity. It's like,
yes, yeah, for sure.
It's so weird.
And like, I feel like maybe today's propaganda, because like propaganda is always around. I feel like maybe today's is a little bit more like subtle. Like, it's not quite, or more like
it's
kind
not
of whistleblowing or like,
this feels a lot like political cartoons where it's like extremely overt with the like message that it's trying to push.
Right.
I don't know. We're definitely more subtle with our propaganda today.
Yeah. And I know I said this to you privately, but like when I was looking at, because it's on YouTube, if you want you could probably go look it up and find it, the Donald Duck Nazi short that we're talking about.
Yeah, just type in the
comments.
You'll find
in the comments people were like, you couldn't get away with stuff like this today, everyone would get offended. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I would say that most people still don't like Nazis.
Yeah,
like,
you can make, I really believe you can make a joke about anything. It just has to be good enough for, you know what I mean? It's like a risk. You're like, I want to make a joke about X sensitive subject. It's like, okay, you better come out swinging. This better be a good joke. You know what I mean? Because if you fail, if the joke does not land, then it's like, oh.
Yeah. And also, like, if it comes from a place of like relatability versus a place of like, isn't this kind of, aren't these kind of people subhuman? It's like, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we don't really approach,
like,
I would say that we don't really approach war, and maybe it's because we're not directly at war with anybody. Like, maybe if we were directly at war with another group, then people would be more willing to dehumanize them. But today, I feel like when we witness war, we're not necessarily, we see both sides, you know? Not to get political, there's a war going on right now. I'm not going to name it. But I feel like a lot of people are very hesitant to be like, one side is completely bad or one side is completely good. Or like the atrocities happening to both sides they're equally unjustified. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like...
Let's get back to Donald Duck very quickly.
I was going to say, I feel like today it's easier, or at least how I look at like war. It's like, we're talking about fucking Donald Duck Goin Quackers. And I'm talking about the cost of war. Anyway, how I feel about war is it's like you have people in power making bullshit decisions, and then who pays for it? The people like on our level, like your normal everyday people are the one who are bearing the brunt of the cost, the violence, the horrors of war. No one should have to go through that. No one should have to go through it. That's where I stand. War is bad. End of story.
We're such an unhinged podcast.
Well, we were talking about Nazi propaganda, anti-Nazi propaganda. Sorry. Anyway, we can drop the subject. So let's move on.
Okay, what were we talking about? What'd you play? I played the game once. You played the game once as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say back to what is your history with this game and or series?
Okay.
Back to experience with Disney Media, the game that we were supposed to cover this month, Kingdom Hearts, was also a big. Oh, there's a baby in here. Sage let the furry baby in my room in my office. Do you want to here?
I would like to seize the baby.
You would like to see? She's gone. The vibes were off when I tried to pick her up, so she ran for it.
Cats do be like this.
Yeah. Anyway, Kingdom Hearts. Now, I see in your notes that the Donald in anti-Nazi propaganda is kind of a surreal experience to see, right? And I would also like to say that some of the things that you were going to hear these Disney characters saying in Kingdom Hearts is also going to be a surreal experience. And I have here a panel from the Kingdom Hearts manga in which Donald is saying some philosophical concepts that are being said in his barely comprehensible duck voice. And in this panel, he is saying, every world is defined by its particular boundaries within which some understanding of reality emerges as truth. Two truths cannot coexist, and so from the introduction of foreign bodies is conflict and chaos spawned. That's why we limit our involvement in local affairs. Like, can you imagine Donald Duck just firing that off?
I wish one of us could do a good Donald Duck voice.
I know, I can't. I would love to, but I can't.
I don't even know what that is. Who came up with that? Who came in and was like, let's do a voice for this duck, and then did that. And everyone was like, yeah, that works.
And then let's not do it for any other character.
No. Goofy.
No other ducks.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Daisy doesn't sound like Donald.
No.
No one
Can you
sounds
imagine?
like Donald.
Can you imagine how horrible that would be? This whole game would basically be uncomprehendable.
What if, okay, hear me out. What if Donald has a speech impediment? And that's why no other duck sounds like him.
Hang on, guys. We didn't mean it. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we are just bullying like his immutable characteristic.
Oops. It's okay, Donald. We still love you. We love you no matter what.
I don't know. He's not my favorite. Anyway, let's get into a very important
he's kind
question.
Of an asshole.
Number one. Let's see how much we love Donald.
Okay.
First question. Donald or Goofy, which one will you save? You can only save one. Do you want to answer on 3, 2, 1?
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Goofy. Goofy. Yep.
Yeah.
We would save Goofy.
Yeah. He's just easier to get along with.
He is. Anyway. Just let that thought linger in your head of Donald Duck perishing in a burning building and what his final cries might be.
Just
Gorsh, you gotta go back and save Donald? No. Okay. Mickey Mouse and his associates. Or Looney Tunes.
Okay. Are we counting down?
No, you can go for this one. I'll let you go first.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I was also gonna go Looney Tunes. I feel like there's just it's like is it edgier? It's dumber.
Kind of.
It's definitely dumber. But I like it more. I don't know. Bugs Bunny, just this asshole. Daffy Duck, also an asshole.
I think Bugs Bunny is a stronger front man than Mickey is.
Mm-hmm. There's more going on.
Because he has some sass. He has some edginess. I don't want to call it edginess.
It is like
you know
it's
what
just
I mean?
edgier.
Like there's something to him. And Mickey is just like wholesome round mouse boy.
Mm-hmm. He's too goody two shoes. That mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't have it. I gotta have a little bit of
The
have a little bit of
sarcasm.
anti-hero in my hero.
Yeah.
You know,
the grittiness.
my child cartoon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd go Looney Tunes as well. All right, Morgan. Disney World vacations, yes or no?
No. I've never been.
Just against it in general. All right.
I'm not a theme park ride person. I think I would enjoy like the food, but also like the crowds and how expensive it is. It'd probably be a hard sell for
And
me.
the Florida of it all, you know.
And the Florida of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I went when my sister was very young, before she could form any memories, so it was kind of like, why do we even
pointless?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's points to doing things before you can form memories, but why Disney World? Anyway, yeah, it was neat. But yeah, I don't know. When I'm a parent someday, Disney World, I don't know. Not so sure about it. Seems stressful. Also seems expensive. It's cool. Like, I liked being there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I put this out and I'm like, I don't have any really strong opinion. I'm just like kind of like a loose no, maybe. I'm also not a big ride person. I'm not a big ride person. My wife is, though.
Well, yeah, and so is my husband. So like, if I was there with like kids, then I could just, if there's like a kid that's too little to get on one of the rides, I would stay with that kid, and then the other kid would go with my husband. So
I guess that works.
You can make it work.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a boring day for you.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like as a parent, some days you just gotta like,
suck
all right,
it up.
It's time to dip into my imagination for the day.
Yeah.
Just
dissociate.
Just survive off that for a while.
Yeah. You're standing in the middle of Disney World with a 1,000-yard stare.
Yep. Just elevator music or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gone on roller coasters a couple times. The most recent time, I'm like, all right, I'm done being, afraid of roller coasters. I'm just going to ride it. It's a roller coaster. Nothing bad can happen. And I still didn't like it. I'm like,
it's not fun.
I don't like this.
No.
So I'm like, I'm good for like one roller coaster. And then I'm like, actually, I don't like these.
Yeah.
I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. Anyway.
I'm like, it makes my tummy feel bad.
I hate waiting. I think if I didn't have to wait, I wouldn't be as maybe I'm anxious before. I don't know. Maybe I should go to therapy.
Okay.
Disney World, I guess. Anyway, what is the canonical version of Donald Duck, Morgan? I think we already answered this. It's the Kingdom Hearts Wizard version, of course.
Yes. Yeah, the Mickey Mouse's court wizard.
Yep. That's the real Donald Duck.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to go with Nazi propaganda, Donald Duck.
Okay.
All right. That's very important questions. Let's get into the game. First, let's just give a quick summary of the story. The story is just a very simple damsel in distress premise. We set out to rescue Daisy from her captor, travel through a handful of worlds, and face off against a variety of characters from the Donald Duck cinematic universe. As well as like, I don't know, we're helped by them. We got like those little hoodlums and stuff. Do you have a favorite Donald Duck? Do you have a favorite duck, real quick? Like, there's a variety of them.
Darkwing Duck.
Oh, Darkwing, yeah.
Darkwing Duck. I think that's how the song went.
The kids, I don't remember their name.
Dewey, Huey, and Louie.
Dewey, Huey, and Louie. I kind of like them. Yeah. I also like Scrooge.
Yeah,
they're good.
I like Scrooge.
Good.
And I like it when he goes to hell.
Yeah, I like when he goes to hell. Yeah. He deserves it.
He did deserve it.
That piece of shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, Morgan, I want you to harness some creativity, some of that creative juice real quick.
Sorry, I read this question ahead of time and I was like, I don't fucking know.
All right, Morgan, you're a storyteller. I'm sure you can do this. I'm going to give you the reins of the Donald Duck franchise.
Okay.
What is a great idea for a video game story centered around Donald Duck?
Centered around Donald Duck.
Donald Duck is the main character. A sequel to Goin Quackers, perhaps.
Okay. So this is a damsel in distress with Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell was that wizard guy?
I don't know.
That had her.
I think his name started with an M.
Okay. So since the handful of goobers that were with Donald in this game, I was like, who the fuck are these people? Who are these ducks? I don't know these ducks. So I would definitely incorporate Dewey, Huey, and Louie and Scrooge instead of whatever we got. I'm trying to think of Donald's like personality traits. Like who? He's angry. He has a temper. Is he kind of like self-centered a little bit?
I think so. Don't think he's the most selfless individual.
Okay. I feel like maybe incorporating something with the nephews where like the nephews maybe like pull pranks on him.
Okay.
Or because I feel like they do that, don't they?
They do.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything Donald Duck oriented other than Kingdom Hearts in like years.
Yes.
So it's really hard for me to not be like, well, you see, there's the darkness and then there's the forces of light and we have to travel from world to world. Like, yeah, I think it would be something with like his nephews are messing with him. Maybe they start off, his nephews are messing with him, but then they need saving. So then Donald gets to be like, kind of like the hero where he like, but that's still like a damsel in distress situation, like with Daisy. I don't fucking know.
I kind of like I like the idea of focusing on the little duck boys. I think that could be fun. Maybe they get into some mischief or sort. I don't know. I don't know. I like that idea. If I had to like pick a set of characters to focus on for a video game, I feel like they would be my go-to. Because they could, create some sort of stupid invention or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Which I think there is like a 2D platformer with the three nephews, but I don't. Or like maybe it's like Donald has to like babysit the nephews. The nephews do something stupid that like pisses him off, but then they get in trouble, and then Donald has to go help them out. I think is what I would do.
I like it. Or we could go with Darkwing Duck, and then we could do something.
Yeah, even though that's not Donald.
That's not Donald. I thought it was for a while, but
or we could give Donald his own alternate persona superhero that's not Darkwing Duck, but is Donald.
Maybe he gets inspired by Darkwing Duck and is like, I can do that too, and then Punisher style vigilante justice, where he's going
an edgy reboot, an edgy Disney gang reboot.
See, Huey is murdered.
Huey's murdered. Uncle Scrooge is dying on the sidewalk, and he says to Donald Duck, with great power. Is that Scrooge or Donald?
No, I forgot. Yeah, he doesn't talk like that.
He has like a Scottish accent, I think, or is it Irish? I'm so sorry. I always I mess that up a lot.
They're too close. We're from where we're looking. Our American point of view, nah.
They're like an inch apart.
Might as well be the same. I like where you're going though. I'm just gonna co-opt that as my answer.
Okay. We kind of brainstormed that together. I think that works.
Yeah. All right. That's really it for the story. I mean,
okay.
Let's get into the mechanics. Very very similar to Crash Bandicoot.
Super.
Very it kind of made me realize that I have not played a lot of games similar to Crash Bandicoot, and I associated that style of platformer exclusively with Crash Bandicoot.
Is this the first clone game we've played? Where it's like, this is a clone of this other thing?
I mean, this is, I think, safely in clone territory, but I don't think that I don't think that some of the things that it's doing, like, on their own constitute clone, but the combination of everything is like, okay, it's a clone game. So it's got the fixed path platforming. So it's 3D, but it's on a fixed path, like Crash Bandicoot. And it has a camera that follows basically a set track. So you're not in control of the camera, but it is 3D. And there's, like Crash, there's occasionally side-scrolling sections and boulder sections where you're running towards the camera away from something.
Getting chased by a giant floating hand.
Or a bear sometimes, I think.
A bear?
Yeah, I think there's a bear that's like a secret thing, but yeah. I don't know.
Oh, I was going to say I never saw
Yeah, I didn't see a bear either. But yeah, it's very Crash-like. I wrote this a little bit later, but do you feel like there's a better name for this type of platformer? Like a better like subgenre of platformer? The few that I came up with was like on-rails platformer, but I feel like that doesn't get it across necessarily because I feel like on-rails implies at a set pace. Potentially, like if it was like a conveyor belt coming at you or something like that. But fixed path 3D platformer was like, I don't know, that's kind of because it's not like you say you call this a 3D platformer, you call Crash a 3D platformer, and that doesn't really get across the idea. That kind of puts something else in your head. That puts in like Mario 64 or something like that.
Right. You don't have like it's not so like Mario 64, would that be considered a platformer and also like a sandbox?
Maybe.
Because you have like this like wide open area kind of to play in, whereas this is not a sandbox. Like it's not open like that. Like I guess like fixed path is the way. Like what is the opposite of a sandbox that's not on rails? I don't know.
I guess it would be something like this, where it's 3D and that you can move in a variety of directions.
Right.
It's almost like if 2.5D wasn't already a thing, I feel like calling this a 2.5D platformer would almost make sense because it's a step above a 2D platformer where it's like you have one dimension to work with and it's a fixed path. But it's a step down from a 3D platformer when you have every direction.
Yeah.
It's like you have a limited amount of directions, kind of. I don't know. I feel like fixed path 3D platformer would work for me.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah. I don't know. There might actually be a name that, I don't know. I've never heard of it, though. If there is a name that people call these types of platformers.
Trademark it.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like Crash is the only game that does it, aside from games like this that are pretty much clones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I can think of anything else that does it.
Let's talk about the movement mechanics. Personally, I felt like they were, for a platformer, pretty solid. They were very in line with Crash, I felt like. So, movement's like really snappy and responsive. There's no like run-up time to like get up to full speed or anything like that I noticed. So it's like very responsive in that way. And Donald Duck has like a very like understandable weight. His single jump, I felt like he comes down fairly fast, but with his double jump, which is basically what you do a majority of the time, it's like an appropriate height. I don't know. It felt like it was very easy to like quickly come to terms with how to move around efficiently.
Yeah.
You feel the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm sorry. I was trying to remember if like Crash has any sort of like weird like slip and slide kind of motion to him. I don't think he does.
Yeah, he has. I mean, aside from like extra moves, I'm pretty sure it is just like jump, double jump affair. So, and the weight feels like very similar. I feel like the main point of frustration could have been like a camera, perhaps, in those games, depth perception. But we'll get into that in a second. One thing that I wanted to say is that I feel like if I was to make like one addition to like improve the feel of the game, I would say like a ledge clamber situation.
Yeah.
Because there's like a couple instances where the
lava levels.
Yeah. Like you just barely don't clear a jump. You like hit it with your feet basically and have to slide down like face first because your feet didn't clear it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the jumps were reconfigured to be slightly further out, I feel like it is just a little bit frustrating to like fail to jump in that way where it's like, oh, it feels like I only just barely didn't get my feet above this. You know, I can't like grab on with my. Does Donald Duck have hands? Yes, he does. I'm looking at the picture. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, wait, does he have hands?
He does have hands.
But yeah, I feel like a ledge clamber would be cool. Yeah, that's the only like core movement thing that I feel like is slightly amiss, and that's it's to be expected. I feel like clambering wasn't a thing for a very long time in most games. So yeah, I do want to talk about the camera real quick because I feel like Crash often gets shit for the camera, and with this being a Crash clone, I was curious if depth perception caused any problems for you.
Yeah, there were some obstacles where it's like you're hopping from platform to platform over like a pit or something, and it's like you kind of lose track of like where he's gonna land. I mean, I could like kind of like get it right most of the time. Like it was fairly accurate, fairly easy to like control. But one thing that I felt like I had problems with, so like when you get hit in this game, you get a set of invincibility frames where like Donald turns into like a little white cloud.
Yeah, he's like a little dust cloud.
Yeah,
like
a
fist and
cartoon
feet sticking
fight.
out.
Yeah, like a fist fight thing. And for some reason, I don't know what exactly it was, but whenever he turned into a cloud, I like lost it. Like made depth perception with like the character model harder
because it feels like it would float different or something.
Yeah, it was like weird to. It was almost kind of like annoying where I was like, I wish it wouldn't do that. Like,
yeah, it just kind of messed with how you would expect things to feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The health system was a little strange because he's basically hangry the whole time. So if he gets hit, it's like he loses the last thing he ate or something. There's like smoothies and stuff.
Vomits.
I don't get it, but you'll get like drinks. And then that will calm Donald down. He'll stop going crazy. He'll stop going quackers.
And like the lower his health is, does your walk cycle change? Or like his like manners like as he's like running around, you can see his movements changing?
I think his like idle definitely changes. And his little icon in the top also. But
that does.
Yeah. I don't think he controls different though, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I didn't get hit very often.
Also, the invincibility frames after you get hit last for a very long time.
Very generous, yeah.
It's a very generous amount of time,
Yeah. Which is fine for this type of game, I guess. Did you use the special moves?
No.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure out how to get them to work. I just didn't bother.
That's so funny. I couldn't figure out how to get them to work either. I'm like, okay, it's a little button combo. It's like, do the button combo after you hit 3 enemies or whatever. It's like, I don't think I did anything.
Yeah.
It's like, but at the same time, I was like, I don't feel like I need this really. So I was like,
No, because everything dies in like one hit anyway.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know what it was.
Damage in one hit.
I don't know what it would have done.
I
still don't know. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Same with the attack. I think you used the attack more than me from what you said, but I only used...
Because it's like funny to be like running through a level just swinging your fists for no reason. Just like for some reason the way his like little feet are running and then his fists just constantly swinging was just funny looking to me, so I liked it.
I feel like I struggled with depth perception when it came to like using the attack more than it did with jumping. So I relied on jumping more. Yeah.
To kill things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I struggled with that. Yeah, it was hard to gauge like how far out in front of you your attack would actually like connect with something. And I got hit a lot that way. And, and things also like enemies being like just out of line of sight of the camera and then like quickly like coming up and smacking you was really annoying too.
Oh, yes.
Which that's a problem in Crash too sometimes.
Yes, especially when you're like running at the camera. It's like
it's like what? How was I supposed to? There's like no way to, unless you like memorize the level layout.
There's like a level of memorization, but it requires just like a very quick sort of reaction time. I guess. Yeah. So boss fights.
Yes.
They feel very similar to Crash as well, where it's normally like it's normally like a stage you're looking down on, kind of not down on, but like you kind of see the whole level. You're not like moving around an area necessarily. For some of them, you are, I guess, but it's usually like avoiding hazards, and then eventually there's a damage phase.
Right.
And it's all fairly straightforward. I don't even think for some of them, it's just like you just avoid damage and then the boss takes damage is kind of how some of them worked.
Yeah, you have to avoid things, or sometimes they'll send things out that are like gonna attack you, and then you have to hit those.
Yeah.
And then wait for the boss to come down and avoid more attacks, and then I think they were all like pretty straightforward. Like there wasn't any of them where I was like, what do I do?
Yeah. The last one, the last boss fight, I did go through a few like damage phases without doing anything because I didn't realize you're supposed to like hit
the
one
gem
of the dudes
that was sparkling.
Yeah,
that did take me a second to figure out. I was like, what?
But I mean, yeah, it wasn't like, oh my god, I'm so lost.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to touch on for the mechanics?
What about collectibles?
Ooh, I didn't even bother.
I didn't bother either.
I don't even.
Is it little gears?
Maybe. Yeah, the little gears are basically the coin equivalent.
Yeah, coins or Wampa fruit or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was completion because I completed the game with 36% completion, I think. So, yeah, I don't know.
Do you have to get all of those to get a certain, and then what? Okay, there was also there's a timer too.
Yeah, you get like scored and stuff. Yeah.
If the timer runs out, is that a like game over or like a
I don't know.
or something?
I just never let it happen.
Never ran out.
I never let it happen. I was like, I can't let this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it did have extra like time trial challenges, sort of like in Crash, where it's like you can go back and try and get through really fast to get a.
Yeah.
I feel like there were extra collectibles or something that was like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to beat the story, so.
Yeah, I was in it for the plot. But yeah, that's all I got for mechanics.
Okay.
Let's talk about level design. There's a couple things I want to talk about. Quickly talking about like the gears that we mentioned before. I feel like the game did a good job of like telegraphing direction. Well, there was like the game is like a little visually overloading at times, but the way that they sprinkle out the gears, very similar to how they do in Mario, where it's like kind of guiding you where to go, where to land and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's well done in a way that like led to me finding the path, without dying, first attempt sort of things.
Yeah.
But not like so handholdy. I don't know. It was good. And I feel like it was a fairly easy game. I think we'll talk about that in a second, but they did a good job of like sprinkling in optional challenges to keep it interesting enough. So like going for a 1-up might be like in the middle of a pit, so you have to like time a double jump correctly to get to it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Or like you have to go out of your way slightly for gift boxes. And it's just like they're not mandatory. It's just an optional thing to make the game a bit more engaging if you find it too easy. And good, very, very standard, like, Mario level stuff, but it was a good implementation of systems like that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say before we talk about difficulty?
No, I don't think so. And there were no as far as I know, there were no, how like Crash has bonus levels that you can go into. I don't think there were any bonus levels.
I don't think there were either. That feels like a very like Crash staple thing too. So if they're going to make a Crash clone, you would probably want to take that. But all right, I want to talk about difficulty in this game. So this is if you followed last episode, you would have heard my, come to Jesus moment with the PS2 emulator. Because up until last episode, I had played everything on an actual PS2, and there were occasionally games where like checkpoints and saves were just like so spaced out that like certain things got really frustrating. Rule of Rose is a good example. Parts of Final Fantasy X as well. But yeah, Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles broke me on that one. So I was like, I gotta get some save states in my life. And I feel like for this game, I had another little come to Jesus moment where I'm like, I'm abusing these save states so badly.
Yeah.
I was just like spamming it. Just every chance I got. It was partially due to like our quick pivot to this game. It's like, I gotta finish this game fast if I want to, be ready for the episode. But I feel like I was abusing save states in a way that kind of hindered the game a little bit. Like, I feel like I don't have a good grasp on whether or not the game was challenging because I rarely had to retry sections and stuff. Like, obviously, to beat the game, I have to clear every obstacle. So I still cleared every obstacle, but I spam save states so much that it's like, I never had to repeat like a gauntlet, like multiple challenges at a time. So I don't know. I mean, like, what is your save state etiquette, Morgan? Are you spamming it to high heaven, or are you being a bit more conservative with it?
Well, it depends on how big of a hurry I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It depends on what I feel like is the level of bullshit the game is throwing at me. So like Tulip,
Yeah, that's a
save
good
states
point.
all the time.
Otherwise, you're gonna have to repeat like an hour.
Yeah. This game was. I mean, I was abusing them. But that was because I was trying to get through it fast.
Right.
I mean, like there were a good handful of times where I like let myself take the punishment and like started from a checkpoint or whatever. I think the checkpoints were. I don't want to say they were overly generous because there were definitely like some situations where like I died and like went back to the checkpoint and I was like, ugh, like this, oof, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say difficulty wise, it's not like Crash 1 because Crash 1 is hard.
Crash 1 is hard. But you know who's got the platinum in Crash 1? This guy right here.
Yeah,
This guy.
yeah.
That's my gamer credentials.
Commitment, yeah. I would put this more on the level of Crash Warped or Crash 3, whatever you want to call it. Which out of the 3 OG Crash games, Crash Warped is hands down the easiest. So I would say like the early to mid game levels of Crash 3 is kind of what this felt like.
I'd say so too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like most Crash games, like I'm thinking of Crash 1 and Wrath of Cortex that we played a few months ago. I feel like both of those games are, when you think of the difficulty is almost defined by a select few moments that are especially frustrating. And I feel like this game didn't have any moment that's like, oh man, this level or this jump or this boss fight is impossible.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like an increase in difficulty from like the first, like the Green Hill Zone. I don't know what it's actually called.
Yeah.
But then like getting to like the haunted house levels and then like the lava stuff, like some of the stuff in the lava levels, I was like, oh, okay, it's getting a little bit more complicated.
Yeah. There was a couple times, there was one like an optional challenge to like get a 1-up that I'm like, I have to do this. Even though I have 1,000 lives because from the game's perspective, I have never died. But I was like, I have to get this 1-up. And I remember that one being particularly difficult because it was like one of those things where you kind of had to like fade away, like jump, like let yourself fall like past a platform and then time the double jump to like get back over it. But yeah. I mean, I think it was a teachable moment where it's like, okay, save states can like kind of like create such a different experience than what the game intends, like gives out naturally and what most people have when they play it, that I probably should be more careful.
Maybe
sometimes it's like
sometimes it's a time crunch and you just can't.
Sometimes it makes it worse. Like, I mean, sometimes it makes my experience with the game worse. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
we're here to be honest,
right? Yeah. So I played this game like a save state fiend and take that into consideration, I guess. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about LD level design? Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go into the aesthetics. Not the prettiest game, although this is one thing that I want to make sure that I do for future games that I play primarily through emulation. I want to load it up on the PS2, throw it on the CRT to get like a better idea of like the sort of intended or like
the
original look, like most people would have experienced. But through emulation, it's not it's not a looker. A lot of character models.
I didn't think it was bad.
It's not like horrible, but like the character models seem pretty like unrefined. Like I feel like Naruto scaled up well. Like the characters and stuff scaled up well.
Yeah.
This game not as much, but yeah. Okay. And another thing is like I'm not super familiar with the source material, but I felt like the worlds had a lack of cohesion, where there was just like not seemingly random, but like random enemies, like for that world. They didn't feel like they fit in with that specific theme necessarily. Sometimes they make a lot of sense. Yeah. Sometimes they make perfect sense, and sometimes it's like, I don't know what this is really. I assume everything is a callback. Not everything, but I assume most things are callbacks to something from the lore of
maybe. I don't know. Well, it was hard because it's like even like the secondary or the side characters. I was like, who are these guys?
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? I'm Gladstone Gander? What?
Yeah.
Who? Who's this Ronald McDonald looking ass?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, what's your take?
What's my take on
the aesthetics?
Oh, I mean, like I didn't really have any complaints about the like how it was upscaled or anything like that. Honestly, like I felt like it was hard to stop and like admire the scenery in any capacity just because of that timer aspect where it's like, I gotta go. Like I didn't want to like, I don't know, lollygag around and then like get screwed later on because I took too much time. So I just kind of, just kind of tried to haul ass through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I will ask though, what were your favorite levels aesthetically speaking? Because like each set of levels kind of has their own vibe. You have like the green forests, you have the town construction work. Then I think you have haunted house and then lava temple.
Lava temple. Yeah. I like ending on a good lava temple. You know?
Yeah.
I like that that's a final world ass theme right there.
It is, yeah.
Lava temple. That's scary. Yeah. That's definitely where the final boss lives. I do like the haunted. I feel like that's one of the more unique ideas. I remember Sonic Heroes had that like haunted mansion set of levels, and I'm like, I kind of like these. Kind of like spooky platforming.
Yeah, I was most drawn to the haunted house levels. I think there might be. Is there some Crash? Wait. In Crash Wrath of Cortex, was there like a medieval castle kind of thing?
Yep.
I like that. And also, it reminded me of, this is not a PS2 game, but a PS1 game, Gex 2.
Enter the Gecko?
Like, yeah.
Maybe? I don't know.
I actually think it might have been Enter the Gecko. Maybe.
Anyway.
I don't know. It's hard to remember. But there was like a haunted house level too, and it sort of like gave me nostalgia for that. I was like, oh, this is just like Gex. Not just like it, but it's similar enough.
Dex Goin Gecko. Anyway. Yeah, I like that. I also like the town. The town had like slightly Sly Cooper vibes. Hear me out. There was a little bit of Sly Cooper going on there with little animals and the construction stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Just a little bit, bouncing off of
Toontown.
Toontown.
Made me think of Toontown.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's my favorite. That's all I got for aesthetics.
Same.
I think we're done. All right, let's go through this recommendations section.
Yes.
So, where can you play this game? You can play it on the PlayStation 2 or the GameCube for this specific version. There are alternate versions of Goin Quackers for the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, the PlayStation 1, the Nintendo 64, the PC, and the Dreamcast. Some of those are crazy. Some of those are overlapping versions, but yeah, a lot of versions of this game.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts.
It's too much. It's too much. Yeah. I feel like when I see something like this, when I see, a game from like an IP tie-in sort of game, and then there's like 10 different versions of it, that's a gaming red flag right there. It's like, that is not a quality game right there. That can't be, right?
Yeah.
It seems like, there's certain games that defy this, but that's just a gaming red flag right there. Do we recommend this game?
Eh.
Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't terrible.
That's the thing. Experience. It wasn't terrible, To me, it felt like a little bit of nothing, though. Like,
there's better things to do with your time.
that is like, yeah.
Our podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah. I feel like there's better. I feel like if you're gonna, why not just play Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's fair.
I don't know. I feel like
Kingdom Hearts. Why not just
Kingdom
play
Hearts?
Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, just play Kingdom Hearts. We should say that about every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not bad, but I would be surprised if someone played it for the first time today and was like, "That was a great experience." I can understand, like, if you got nostalgia for this game, hop back into it. You're like, "Yeah, it's still okay to good." I'd be like, "Yeah, that makes sense. That's a valid take." A newcomer coming into this, it's harder for me to say that that's a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah, again, I'm not gonna say like you're gonna have a terrible time, because you're not, but you're also gonna be like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be like, yeah, like it's not like,
yeah,
it's not anything to write home about or to get excited about. I don't know.
It's I like sprinkling in the little bit of, more obscure, lesser known, lesser discussed games. Gives the show a little bit of texture. But this is one of those lesser.
It's not an Oni.
This is not the hidden gem that we were necessarily diving for,
Yeah.
It is
we have to
what it
pace
sounds
ourselves.
like. Yeah. Eventually, I am excited for doing, eventually we will play a game that we presume is shit. And we'll come away surprised. It's going to happen at some point. We're going to be like, holy shit. Fucking Madagascar. The game.
Yeah.
Incredible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't. We'll see.
I mean, I've already played Madagascar, so I already have.
That's why that popped into my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's discuss the future of Donald Duck for a moment.
As a concept, as a
political idea.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Does this game need a remake, Morgan? What do you think? No, it doesn't. It's a weird.
If someone did it, I'd be like, why?
No.
Why did you do that?
I feel like this question. We have a couple staple questions. Staple. I don't know why I said it like that. We have a couple staple questions in the run of show. Asking if a game would benefit from a remake is one of them. So imagine the next Nintendo Direct. They're like, and we have one special announcement from one angry duck, and it's Donald Duck Goin Quackers restraining order edition or something. I don't know.
Anger management
classes. Oh, yeah, that'd be weird. But
yeah, what?
unnecessary. This is not a game that gets remade.
No.
But how do you feel about the idea of more Disney games that pull from this group of IP? Your Donald Ducks, your Mickey Mouses, your Goofies.
I have heard good things about. I don't know. I said it like I was about to croak. I have heard good things about Disney Dreamlight Valley. Is that what it's called? The Disney Stardew Valley clone?
I've heard bad things.
Oh, I've heard good things. Well, okay, here, to put it into perspective, not to rag on our friend. We've ragged on him before, though, but Zach was the one who was like, oh, it's good. I like it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm curious as to like what you've heard.
I believe I was told that there's some like microtransaction shenanigans that have taken place.
Oh no. Well.
But I'm not positive.
Okay.
I'm not positive. I'm speaking from a place of ignorance right now. It is simply hearsay.
Yeah. As far as like Disney IP goes, aside from Kingdom Hearts, I don't think I'm like in the market for like anything. I'm not a Disney adult.
I'm not a Disney
aside
adult.
From Kingdom Hearts.
I'm not.
That's my little disclaimer, but
I don't mind. There's like a history, like a somewhat significant history with Disney IP, like dating back, fairly many years at this point. Like DuckTales, for example, is like a fairly beloved platformer centering around Scrooge McDuck. And the idea of like a modern Disney platformer, I would love to see it like actually given to a studio that, you know, I'm not saying like Naughty Dog needs to make a freaking Disney game, but like you know, you find like a solid like indie team, bring them in, be like, hey, you guys like Disney? And they're like, yes, we would love to, you know, make a game with a bunch of like little references and like deep cuts and stuff. That sounds neat. Hopefully there's like a solid game behind it. I don't know.
It could be like Sonic Generations, where you have like the multiple generations or like variations of like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and everyone else that you get to like.
Oh, I do like that concept.
Play with. Yeah.
And to keep with the Sonic analogy, how about like a little Sonic Mania going on, you know? We bring in like a fan studio, basically.
Yeah.
You know? Do a little bit of a retro-inspired platformer, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, some of it could be 2D, some of it could be like the 3D platforming. Yeah, I think that would be cool.
It's hard to imagine Disney being like, we need a 2D platformer in a retro 8-bit. Like,
yeah, that is
that. I don't think that would happen. But if they did do a 3D, you know, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to have like a solid, because it's a nice IP.
Yeah,
I don't know. Feels like it could be put to work in a video game form, but seldom used at this point. We'll see. All right, that's all I got to say. Let's move into the conclusion. Next game, next month, Kingdom Hearts, I promise. But, you know, I do currently have my fingers crossed in case that doesn't happen. It's going to happen. We're not going to delay it twice, right? That's not going to happen. So, yeah, we'll play the sequel to Donald Duck Goin Quackers next month. Yeah. Forget we're not a weekly podcast whenever we discuss things like this. But yeah, I got some work ahead of me.
All right.
But I'll make sure. I'm debating whether or not I want to play it on the actual PS2 or on an emulator currently. Because I do kind of like it. There's something cozy seemingly about Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, I kind of want the fuzzies of the CRT in the PS2
but
controller.
Then I would like to remind you though, the PS2 version of Kingdom Hearts does not let you skip cutscenes. The first game does not let you skip cutscenes. And there are some boss fights. There is one specific boss fight where the whole fan base has the dialogue memorized because they had to sit through this like 7-minute long cutscene every fucking time. So I'm just going to warn you.
Okay, I think you're right. I think I will play it on the emulator.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's still going to be cozy. And like take time to appreciate the soundtrack, I would just like to say, because it is special.
Okay.
Except for one level that I'm now thinking of that I fucking hate.
Okay. Well,
we'll talk about that next time.
We will talk about this next time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Please support the podcast by leaving a review or rating, subscribe or follow to stay up to date. What we're playing, share the show with a friend who loves this generation of games, do something, or you can write in any questions, feedback, or PS2 game recommendations to analogschtickmail@gmail.com. Last month, we solicited dating advice. Solicited the right word? Requested dating advice.
What? We don't need dating
advice. No, we don't need it. We want to give it. Give us your dating question.
Yeah.
I would love...
I was like, we're both married.
Listen, if one of you numbskulls out there actually fulfills our request, we will probably drop everything to help with this.
Yeah.
That's just who we are. We love a little bit of drama. Love a little bit of interpersonal relationship drama. All right.
And that sweet, sweet parasocial connection.
Oh, yeah. We love it. Anyway, leave a comment, YouTube or Spotify. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye. Gorsh,
Mickey.